Hello, Internet. Just got some sad news on the.
That you already know about.
Yeah, everyone knows about at this point, but the president of Nintendo passed away 2 days ago.
It said June 11th was when he died,
Yeah,
so that's a Saturday.
uh,
But
J-
because of the time difference in Japan, it may have been like our Friday.
July 11th, not June 11th. But yeah,
But,
yeah, I think they waited like a day before they told everybody, just because of the family and everything. But really sad. Actually,
yeah, that kind of broke me.
yeah, I actually learned a lot about the guy, even more so in the past day of just looking at like his accomplishments and everything. I didn't know he actually happened to create the video game that got me into video games, which was surprising. Kirby Dreamland on the Game Boy.
Oh yeah, he was one of the five main people at HAL Laboratories when it was getting started.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. That literally like that game that was the first video game I really ever played when I was a little kid.
Yep, and he was, by all accounts, and by like I'm quoting, not making this up, he was a wizard at coding.
Oh, really?
People have said that about him.
Really? I
Yes.
another thing I found that he compressed gold and silver to get Kanto into the game. Do you know that?
Well, yeah, it was more. It was not so much he did it for that. It was more of, hey, we can't fit it into the cartridge. Oh, don't worry, I can compress it. There, I made it so you can fit 2 games in here.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That was possibly the best thing about gold and silver.
Where you thought you beat the game, and then suddenly,
Yeah,
wait, I can go all the way back to Kanto.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was I thought that was pretty surprising. He also worked on Pokemon Stadium too. I found out.
Yeah, he coded like the battle system in a week.
Yeah, that's what I read.
Yeah, like I said, people have actually described him as a wizard with code.
Yeah, and here he is running the company after all those years.
Yep. Well, he didn't just like, hey, this guy's a great coder. I'll make him a businessman. What he originally started out after he was like, the HAL Laboratories got into some bad financial problems, and basically they needed to get out of it, so they had Iwata become the president of HAL Laboratories for a bit, and he brought it back into the black. And after that, he moved to Nintendo to become part of the planning division,
Huh.
and for a couple years. And after doing that, Hiroshi Yamaguchi, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, decided that he should be the next president after he steps down.
Huh. Yeah, I
Wait,
heard his was it the previous what was the guy's name? The previous president?
Hiroshi Yamaguchi?
Yeah, he was more of a businessman. Um,
Like, like people have described he is the stereotype of the Japanese cold businessman.
yeah. That's why Iwata was interesting, the fact that he used to develop games and then
Yeah,
made his way up to the top.
yeah. At the age of 41 too. Like that's actually incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
Like, hey, do you want to run a multinational media conglomerate?
Yeah. And he also, I mean, what people don't realize is he opened up Nintendo a lot, like the transparency. Nintendo was notorious for being
Like that. Not even just transparency. He made people approachable.
yeah. Well, Nintendo was notorious for being like very closed off with like whatever it was working on.
Well, they always kept secrets like they had to, but it was more of like you could not get close to them. You had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
Like now it's more of like we know they're doing stuff and there's secrets in there, but we also just like, oh, I know the CEO. Yeah, I know the COO. Hey, I know a lot of the people who are working there
Yeah.
because he keeps talking to them and keeps bringing it up. Uh, used to, anyway.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, like there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to like realize that are wrong because he's gone. But the things that I'm going to notice like immediately are there's not going to be any more anymore. I am speaking directly to you.
Yeah.
None of that is going to happen anymore. There won't be any more Iwata Asks series because you can't exactly do that without Iwata.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll continue with
the Ask it, like the next person, like somebody's going to do Ask series, but you can't do it. You can't do the Iwata Ask series without Iwata.
I mean, I'm sure they're gonna continue with the Nintendo Directs and have somebody else host it, but
well, they've been doing that since he got admitted into surgery to begin with.
Yeah. That's a real
No, like it's also doubly sad because I remember like when he finally did a direct again, it was just like a coming of home party. Like, yes, Iwata is back, and now it's just like now it'll never happen.
Yeah.
And the final picture we have of him on a direct is him as a Muppet.
Yeah, that's...
Which they can't even use the Muppet anymore because he was the voice of it, I think.
I wonder if that was part of the reasoning why they went with Muppets this time around.
Yeah, it might be easier on him because he was sick.
Yeah, his health.
That's potentially it.
The real hey, the guy, I mean, he was with Nintendo through like really like the ups and downs of it, like the big successes and then also the failure. It seems like Nintendo's history, like
well, he was there for a long time.
Yeah.
He worked at like his first job was HAL Laboratory, and HAL Laboratory is very close knit with Nintendo.
Yeah, like he's been president since 2000.
I think 2002.
2002. I mean,
yeah, he started off right after the GameCube launched.
Yeah, I mean, even within like that decade or whatever, he's seen the rise. Like, I don't think the GameCube was the GameCube as a financial success.
Depends on your definition of financial success.
I don't think. I mean, obviously the Wii was like what was like.
Oh, the Wii was definitely a success. There's no way around that.
The Wii was lightning in a bottle almost, but
Yeah, but the way you would describe the GameCube was it was profitable.
Yeah.
But they sold barely any. It's mostly because they figured out a way to like cut as many costs as possible that the GameCube was still profitable. Like the Xbox sold 3 million more but was less profitable because Microsoft just spent more.
Yeah.
With the GameCube they spent very little, so they got enough back of a return that it made sense for them.
It's just it'll be it'll be interesting to see because I mean so much of like the vision of the company was like led by him, and it'll be interesting to see if like they continue on with
well they kind of have to
Yeah.
if for no other reason of he kind of set off a domino effect because A, he brought a lot of change to the company, B, he was going to announce the QED thing,
the NX,
and he's going to announce the NX, and then he was going to announce mobile games. That's three things on the docket, and that's only for next year.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be interesting to see the announcement of NX because I mean, the rest of whatever happens in the next year is already like set up from his
Yeah, though they kind of also they had a contingency plan because they had to. He was in poor health. They were hoping for a recovery, but he was already in poor health, so they knew, okay, we at the very least need a backup plan.
Yeah.
So they were aware this was going to happen. They were aware this was a possibility. They obviously hoped it wouldn't happen, and like Miyamoto and Takeda were both much older than him.
Yeah.
So, well, not that much. Like I think Miyamoto was like 62, 63 or something.
I think I know he's in his 60s. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is he gonna be taking over as like the president?
the current right now is Takeda and Miyamoto are taking over the managerial part before a successor is officially named. But like whoever's going to be the official one is going to be named later.
Okay.
Okay, we're talking too much about minutia. Let's actually focus on Iwata and what he did.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else did he do that was like... Okay, here's one that's magical, like, what he did with Melee.
Oh yeah. Didn't he work on Melee too?
No. He wasn't supposed to.
Oh really?
Yeah. He was in a planning stage, but Melee was falling behind. It wasn't going to make its date. It was not supposed to release. They would have to delay it. Unless somebody, let's say a programmer, stepped in, went into the trenches, figured out most of the bugs in 3 weeks, and fixes them all basically by himself.
He did that?
Yes.
No wonder why Melee was such a great game.
No, he just went in and fixed everything he could. And he was literally amazing at nearly all the things he did.
But even with it,
it's actually weird to think about. Like, try thinking of a fault with this guy.
I mean,
you can, but it's like very small things.
Even if you didn't agree with like a lot of the design philosophy, like the directions Nintendo's been going in like the past 10 years or whatever, you have to admit just the accomplishments of this guy.
Yeah, and also just the chutzpah on him.
Yeah.
Like, everybody has told him that everything that Nintendo does is wrong. Like, remember, like, right before the DS came out, it was an idiotic idea because it had 2 screens and no one wants 2 screens. Right before the Wii came out, that was a terrible idea. Motion controls, why does the thing look like a half-baked remote?
Yeah. Or the 3DS came out and everyone was saying that was a commercial failure. And
then he brought it around.
Yeah, well, he also took a pay cut in half and gave away, like, they made the decision to give away free games in the meantime to everybody that bought it year one. And
oh yeah, but like, it's just shows just how committed he is to not only the customers but also just the business itself and the games themselves. Like, you can see a normal CEO just like cut the price and then cut staff and do nothing else. Iwata was like, our customers bought it at too high a price, we owe them.
Yeah.
We owe them.
You would never see that with any of the other companies, like a public apology and trying to fix something like that. Like,
and
it would have to be
like
a really big disaster.
Yeah, just more of, okay, we made a mistake, we owe them, we're giving them free games. We need to cut the price down so that we can sell to other people, and we also, I'm going to take a pay cut. A lot of board members are going to take pay cuts. That's a better alternative than cutting staff, because we have the best staff who make the best games.
Yeah.
And that's just a amazing philosophy, and one you would not actually think could exist.
Yeah, especially from the business side of things. It's not.
Yeah, it's probably because he's a coder. He went up through as a coder, but still, just it's a marveling feature. Just the idea of here's a CEO who acts exactly like you want a CEO to act like, and he doesn't act remotely like a CEO.
Yeah.
Also, he's a man who figured out, okay, how do I sell games to people? I got it. I'll stare at a banana for 7 seconds. And it worked.
Yeah, I know that was like a thing with him. Like, where did that come from? The bananas.
During an E3 Direct, right after every game, he would do something kind of odd that related to the game.
Oh, really?
Like, I think, yeah, he would, like, one game he would put on a leather jacket right after the announcement. The next one, he did something else. After the Donkey Kong one, he was just holding bananas. It didn't make any sense. Like, the bananas, it was related to Donkey Kong, but just like, why was he holding them? Why was he just staring at them for 7 seconds? What was the point? And it was just, and that became a meme. Like, when they announced the Lego City game, he was turned into a Lego and staring at a carrot. In the Muppet one, he was still staring at bananas.
Yeah, the guy was amazing. It's definitely it's fascinating now
Oh yeah,
looking
that's
back and seeing like old. I didn't even know a lot of the like the Melee. He worked on Melee or Gold and Silver, or even like Cur- the Kirby Dreamland. Those are like some of my I have really good memories with those games.
Yep. And he was also, because he was president, he was also executive producer on basically every game that came out after that.
Yeah.
He and there's a couple games you can look up. Like his very first game that was sold was like a billiard game. Like there wasn't anything special about it. It was just billiards.
Yeah.
He worked on a Mario golf game. Apparently, he did like all the coding himself for that.
Yeah, I was reading about he's not responsible for the creation of Kirby. He was
No, that's Sakurai.
yeah,
He was just like he was the main programmer on that.
he was responsible for just the idea of having a game be accessible. Like they wanted to make a game that was accessible to
Yeah,
basically anybody to pick up and play. I mean, that kind of like led on to like the whole design philosophy with Nintendo, like even up to like just even now.
yeah. It's just like his basic mantra was there's only one thing games need to be: fun.
Yeah,
Fun for everyone.
it's the truth. It's the truth.
There's some arguments for or against that, but it's just a beautiful argument, and it's one that you can just like see he tries to do without fail all the time.
Yeah,
He didn't want just you to have fun with the game. He wanted everyone to have fun playing games. He was sad that a child could buy a console and then play the console and their parents wouldn't get it. Because he wanted the parents to have fun too. He wanted the whole family to have fun.
it's
Like he was not satisfied until that happened,
you,
and he went out of his way to do weird things. Like there's a story about the launch of the DS. He wasn't there. He missed it.
oh really?
Yeah, he didn't bother going.
Why?
He was going to meet somebody else. This person he needed to get the rights from if he wanted to make a small game called Brain Age.
Oh really?
Yeah, so he was like, instead of going to like, hey, I'm supporting the DS launch, he was like, can't, I need to make a game.
Brain Age.
Yeah, well, that was a good decision. They sold 20 million
I know
copies
they
of that.
did. Those games actually sold a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
And this is just like immensely sad for me. Like for the past day, I have been crying nonstop because he was such a amazing CEO. The idea of like turning your high level staff into marketing material is probably ludicrous. It's even more ludicrous that he managed to make it work.
yeah. So that's the thing. Like Nintendo. I mean, a lot of people that don't like Nintendo or whatever. They even if you don't like Nintendo and everything that they do, you have to admit that they take chances, and a lot of it is responsible for people like Iwata. The whole design philosophy with games. They didn't want to come out with games that were, the same.
Yep. Their basic idea was more of video games shouldn't be niche. They are amazing. Let's open this so that everybody plays games, and then we'll make certain ones niche.
Yeah. It's a very sad week for just the video game communities.
Yeah, because even if you hated Nintendo, you can't hate Iwata. You can't. He's too likable of a human being. He's too amazing of a person. He's too... There's just too much you can like about him. You either are impressed by his coding mastery, you are impressed by how well he actually ran a company, whether or not you agreed with all his decisions. He brought Nintendo to new heights.
Yeah.
And then there's his character. Like that's the major difference between him and Yamaguchi. Yamaguchi was a cold, hard bastard. Like, there's no two steps around that. He did not like things. Like, that's the man who bought the Seattle Mariners and never bothered to go to a game. He just bought it just like, oh, Seattle wants me to do them a favor? Sure. I'm not gonna go, I don't care. Iwata actively seems happy with everything around him. Like, the Iwata asks, it became a meme that Iwata laughs at everything, because whenever something amusing happens or is said during Iwata asks, he always laughs. He's always giggling, he's always happy, especially when he's talking about game development and talking to his developers.
Yeah, it's interesting. Everybody who has, like, interviewed him or met him over the years, they always say he's overly nice. And not just because, like, putting on, like, a mask for people.
Like, he
was a very friendly guy.
It's entirely weird to, like, think about. Like, he is more genuine than you can probably give him credit for. And everybody, like, notices that to a point where it actually staggers them. That there's this jovial, happy... Like, he is the person you would want to be running Nintendo. Because he seems like a child with an adult mind and an adult body. Like, he's the happiest person, he's curious, he's inquisitive, he just has fun with anything. And he's doing so many impressive things. Also, he's a conniving madman when he wants to be. No, like, this was my favorite Iwata story because it's so deranged. Do you want to know how Brawl got started?
No.
Okay, well, I'm telling you
No, I mean, I didn't know about this story. No, I want you to tell me the story.
Okay, so here's what happened. At one of the E3s, Iwata announces Smash Brothers. Sakurai is completely flabbergasted because he wasn't told a thing about this. So he's like, wait, am I off the project? Why wouldn't he ask me? He gets word that Iwata wants to have a meeting with him. And Iwata tells him, like, we have not started development. That was literally the first thing that anyone's ever heard of Smash Brothers. And I want you to helm it. If you don't, I'll take Melee, give it online support, and that will be the new Smash Brothers. It's your choice. He blackmailed Sakurai into making Smash Brothers Brawl.
Wait, he said he was going to give Melee online support as an alternative?
Yeah, it was either Sakurai comes in to make the new Smash game, or he just puts online in Melee, and that's it.
Huh.
He just released a new game with online. Just Melee with online. That would be the new game.
It's interesting, I didn't know that.
He blackmailed Sakurai into making Smash Brothers Brawl. And Sakurai actually talked about it. It's like, if anybody but Iwata asked me to do this, I would have said no. Like, that shows you just how deep their friendship is. Like, if the other Nintendo president asked Sakurai, he would have said no. If Miyamoto asked Sakurai to do that, he would have said no. But because it was Iwata, the person he was with in HAL Laboratories, the person he's, like, probably most connected to in Nintendo, it's like anybody else but Iwata would have been a no. There would not have been a brawl. Which I know some Melee fans would have preferred, but no, Brawl was technically a better game.
That's up to debate. I
It technically had more stuff. It had better animation.
yeah.
And
Let's not get to that. That's getting off topic, but um,
yeah,
yeah. No, the guy was great.
like he became a legend the moment he died because it's just so weird to think that he existed.
It's interesting now, like when he died,
Like it's 2 days.
the whole
It's been 2 days since his death was announced, and like not even announced. Just it's been 2 days, and everybody's just like flabbergasted that this guy could have existed,
well
let alone
the impact,
was.
even from like these fanboys and like it kind of brought a lot of people together because even people from Xbox and Sony or they're all they're all coming together, realizing all the accomplishments of this guy.
Like,
Like they've lost a really big figure in the video game community, and just,
it's basically devastating.
yeah,
Like Nintendo's gonna go on without him, clearly, and Nintendo was more than this one man.
yeah,
But this one man changed Nintendo. And that's very hard to do. This one man changed the world.
it's sad that he died now.
Like, that's also the other thing. It's more
Yeah.
of like, we can't believe what he left behind, because that's an impressive, like, just chart, what he did before he died.
Yeah,
But but that's not what's sad. The sad thing is he had so much left to do.
yeah,
He died at 55. He had, like, if we go by Nintendo presidents of the last one died at 85, and he quit in 2002. So if we were going by that logic, we should have had Iwata for 20 more years.
yeah.
And considering what he was planning to do, QED, NX, mobile, we had a lot left. We should have gotten a lot more from him.
Well, they were on an upward trend. Like
They were suffering massive losses, but that was 3 years ago.
yeah,
He figured out he got them back into profit. He figured it out. He was working up to it. He was giving themselves a solid base, and then he said, "We're going to aim for the top very soon." So he still had so much more to do, and he was completely willing to do it. And that's why this is incredibly sad, because there was another direct where he would come in wearing a Luigi hat and say, "I'm very excited to announce." And we're not going to get that now.
yeah. I mean, Nintendo will carry on. They obviously have a plan set.
Yeah, and
But it's a shame that
the world always moves on.
Yeah.
The world always moves on.
it's a shame that so I think everybody lost a great man. It's just not even for like video games, but like even the designers.
Just as a creator,
Yeah.
we lost someone massively important. Like, imagine what the iPhone would be like without the Wii. Like, that's a weird prospect. Because the Wii brought in the casual market. The Wii created the casual market. Then Facebook games happened. Then iPhone games happened. They all started with the Wii.
Yeah, I mean even going back before that, like there wouldn't be handheld gaming as we know it without.
Well, without Iwata, that was going to happen. But the DS was an idea. What became an idea was more of a collaboration between Iwata and Hiro and the previous ones. Ideas like Hiro got wow his name is hard. he came up with it. Let's put two screens on it, and then Iwata finished the idea, but then everything else was him.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything else to say on this. Um,
I'm sure I've read a couple more stories that I haven't gotten to.
yeah.
Like the idea, like his belief that designers trump coders, but barely, because you can't have a game without both an imagination and construction. Just the, also, like, so much I'm going to miss from this man. Even just like the way he does his hair, like the way he just is just like so iconic now. Like when you see that, the way he parts his hair, it's just, you know it's Iwata. The way he talks to people, the way he's like,
he's
the
the
way
face,
his English, yeah,
he's
the
the
way
face
his
of
English
Nintendo
work,
for all
like
these
he's
years.
actually, yeah, and he's like, if you lived with people whose English is as a second language, you realize that Iwata's actually astoundingly good at English.
Yeah.
And especially since he doesn't need to use it all the time, but he's just really good at it. Like, he has the obvious, like, Japanese quirks of speaking English, but he's actually much better than you would think. And he doesn't ever need a translator.
Which is a rarity for Japanese businessmen.
Yeah, like Miyamoto, from what if you talk slow, he can pretty much understand everything you're saying. From what I can gather, Miyamoto knows English, just not well. He uses Bill Trennan because I don't know why they use Bill Trennan. Like, okay then, hey, hey, guy who works on games and other things, be the translator. Like, you would think you would just get a guy specifically for translating to be Miyamoto's translator, but nope. Grab the guy who would be next in line to be a Nintendo of America CEO.
Yeah. Okay, I think we should start wrapping it up since it's a mini cast. Nothing else I could say on the matter, unless you want to say some more stories.
Nope, I think I'll say the thing that I said on Facebook.
Okay.
From all of Nintendo's fans directly to you, Mr. Iwata. Thank you for everything.
Thanks so much.
Goodbye.